So let's say you're a home builder in the Washington, D.C. area. Is it valuable to you if your information shows up when somebody is Googling home builder when they live in like Idaho? Or same sort of question. If you're a family attorney and you're based in Maryland and you are searching and you show up when somebody is searching for divorce solutions, but they're searching, I don't know, in Florida. Like, how does that help you? Not really. So that is why standard SEO, search engine optimization, is not the be all and end all for all providers and for all subject matter experts. So today, my colleague, Kristen, and I are going to be talking about local SEO, local search engine optimization. I'm Erica Dickstein with Spring Insight.
And I'm Kristen Cudd with Spring Insight.
So awesome. So thanks, Kristen, so much for joining me today to chat about this. So let's talk about first, as we start out, what is local SEO?
Yeah, so it's kind of as you alluded to in the introduction there, it's a way to make your website more visible to people in your local area who are the ones who need your services or your programs, whatever it is that you are offering out to your clients. So it is a very strategic method of using very well-defined tactics that will say, okay, I am a person living in Texas and I want to get a swimming pool put in. So I'm going to type, I need a swimming pool built, and on Google or any other search engine, and boom, I'm going to get results that are actually in my local area so that I'm not being offered things that are outside of my state or even outside of my city. So it's a way to get the right people that you are targeting to see your website faster and easier.
Right. And it's super interesting because for certain professionals, we have some accounting professional clients, and they're very focused on, let's say, our client who's focused on distilleries. It doesn't matter to her where that distillery is. She's going to be able to help them. But then on the other hand, other professionals, it really is very critical. So next let's talk about the elements of local SEO. I mean, I think the big, there's always the big gorilla in the room. The big gorilla in the room, it turns out, is pretty much always Google.
It's the big Google gorilla.
Exactly. And that's the Google Business Profile listing. It used to be known as Google My Business, but now it's Google Business Profile. And that, I think, they're the big gorilla. They're the ones who you sort of think of because when you search, they're the ones that show up on the side of the page. They're the three pack. So Google really is the leader in this industry.
Absolutely. And there are so many things you can do to your Google business profile to make it to make your business show up above someone else's who is
Absolutely.
the same
And we'll
building.
talk about that. I'm going to interrupt you because we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Just get through the sort of what the elements are. Local citations and directories. Those are like, are you a member of your chamber of commerce? Have you worked with somebody locally? Are there local directories where you can get them to point to you, and those are great for that sort of local, to get local magazines are another great source. Um, Online reviews. So those also through Google, of course, because Google is, but there are other standards in the industry, TripAdvisor. I hesitate to Yelp for a couple of reasons, but they are, those are, and certainly also industry specific. I know when we've worked with home builders, Houzz is another one, huge for local and huge for getting those um, reviews. And then finally, localized content. And that's on your website
Hmm.
where you're creating pages that are about your local service area. So why does this matter? Why do you care about why should business owners and the people who are listening care about local SEO?
I mean, the primary reason you care about it as a business owner is because you want the right client prospects to see what you're offering. And so if you have a local target that you're trying to reach, you want them to see your website, not someone that doesn't matter to you and who can't use your services because they're outside of your
Mhm.
geographical area. So it's going to put more of the right eyeballs on your site and on your services, so that you have more client prospects to speak to.
Absolutely. And those particular, this particular group of people, when they're searching those terms locally, tend to be very highly motivated purchasers, right?
Right.
You're not searching locally for swimming pool builders because you're just interested in,
Right.
right, right? Like in like,
No one
oh,
has a
swimming pool,
vehicle. You're not researching.
right?
You're like
You're not,
men
well,
are looking for someone to hire.
exactly. You're not just like, wow, I'm doing an essay on, I mean, maybe you are, but that's unusual. Typically, you are a motivated buyer who is really trying to look for information and get into a sales funnel. Um, and also I think one of the things that we regularly talk about, just web presence in general, which is building trust and recognition, because so much of what people are doing with their web presence is social proof, right? I've heard about these guys. Maybe I heard about them at a networking event. I heard about them somewhere else, but what do people say about them? So
Mm,
it's also good even for social proof. So
absolutely.
now here we go. I derailed you before when we were talking about ways of improving your local SEO. So let's talk about some of the ways that business owners can really focus on improving their local SEO.
Yeah, and this is one of the great things about that is that these are very specific, tested and tried and true methods that are going to have an impact on how visible your site is. So in the world of online marketing, there's so much that it's like, yeah, we can try this and we can try this, and we can't really point and say like, yes, this change made had this impact and how many leads I got. Whereas these tactics are very easily tied back to the performance of what you're going to see when people search.
Excellent. Excellent point. And one of the things that I also like to remind local businesses is when you're competing locally, it's a lot easier to really perform. Because think about it, right? Like, one of the things that you always say about with search engine optimization is you don't have to be, if you're running from the bear, now we're talking about the bear again, although in
And
a
the win.
different context. You don't have to be faster than, you don't have to be faster than everybody. You just have to be faster than your friend who's also running from the bear, right? And so
Right.
if you're searching, like, search engine optimization on a global scale, that's very, very, very competitive. But,
Yeah.
if you're a plumber and you're competing against local plumbers in your area, you only have to be as good as the most savvy of those plumbers who has gotten that. And that is a much lower bar.
Exactly. Yeah, another excellent point. So let's talk about what are those things that it's
Absolutely.
so we've already mentioned the Google My Business profile or the Google Business
Hmm.
profile now. So one of the things that we see so many business owners not really be aware of is that they actually have to go and clean that and say that it's theirs so that
Yep.
it's not just living out there as this sort of placeholder on Google, but they're saying, this is my business. This is where it's located, and we're going to get into all the things that they need to put on there to make it to legitimize it as an actual local business.
And maintain it and keep it up to date as well. I mean, after, if you're having these seem so simple, but it's just something that people don't think about. If you're having a sale, put it on there, right? Like,
Yes.
just actively keeping it up. You're offering a new product. That actually is a way for you to really communicate value to people who are searching.
Right. It's a mindset
Absolutely.
shift. We try to help our clients see
Hmm.
it, that the the Google Business Profile is a living, breathing thing, just like your social media channels and your website should be. It's something that you need to put new information on, and treat it as something that's not just a sit and forget, but it's like you said, if you're having a sale or you're moving, obviously you need to deal with that, or even your social content. I mean, you can put some of your social content on your Google Business Profile,
Hmm.
and it's feeding the Google machine and making it happy and making it more visible.
Exactly. Always want to feed the Google machine. Um,
That Google is hungry.
exactly. There's a term in local SEO, NAP. Sounds like, which
Hmm.
sounds lovely and luxurious, but actually it stands for name, address, and phone number. And it's making
Hmm.
sure that your name, address, phone number is consistent everywhere. And it's shocking how often that doesn't happen. Like people are like, well, of course I'm going to be consistent everywhere. But actually, what happens is at some point, maybe you moved and you had directories that you forget about. So it's just making sure going through and doing an audit of all of of anywhere you're mentioned and making sure that you're consistent. That's pretty straightforward.
Hmm.
Local citations and directories, I mentioned that previously. Your Chamber of Commerce, your any local directory, if you're, some industries really lend themselves to these, medical professionals, legal professionals, encouraging reviews. This one is a really good one for us to chat about because it's not just, hey, wow, I hope that people review me. It's actually creating systems when you're talking to to your satisfied clients for asking them for those reviews.
Hmm. And you can put a process in place by which it's even automated if you have that sophistication with your uh, tools that you have in your business, but making it part of your regular client process, that when someone works with you, you've done a great job, they're happy, you're happy, ask them for the review in a formalized way, and do it consistently, because as you mentioned before, social proof is so hugely important, and especially in a competitive landscape with some of the kind of professional services we're talking about. People want to know what other people who have used this business have to say about it. And if you don't have reviews or you just have a few, it it is there's a psychological thing by a new client that's going to go, they must not
Well,
be.
and even so, I mean, even if they're even okay, let's say put aside, like let's say it doesn't matter to new clients that you have a ton of reviews, but think about the opposite. If something goes wrong with an engagement that you're on, and things do, even the best of us, even those of us who are like absolutely perfect, we have things that go wrong. You have an unhappy customer, that person is motivated, right? They're going to do the review because something has gone wrong, and so they want to tell people why this went wrong. So you have to make sure that you have in place, people who are happy aren't necessarily going out and saying, "Oh, let me tell you how happy I am." They're just satisfied. So
Yeah.
what we're saying is create a system for the satisfied people to be reminded to talk about how satisfied they are. Finally, our final thing on keys for improving local search engine optimization is creating localized content. And this is, as we talk about location pages, it's basically creating content, you know, in some ways it's a little bit of playing the game, but there is some value to the content that you can create. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to, in terms of the search engine, link your keywords with your local area keywords, right? So making it so that if somebody is searching for your keywords in your area, you have sort of created content that becomes the obvious thing for search engines to know. Oh, this person knows about this and knows about this area.
Right. And
Um,
that's baked into content that you're adding to your site, but also into the structure of the site as well. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. So these are some great, well, self-proclaimed. We think there's some great ideas. A lot of work. And so there's a lot of information both that we've provided and that others have provided. But as you're going through this, if it's something that you're like, wow, this is a lot of work, how do I execute this? If you're looking for if you're looking for a team that can be helpful with that, shocking, this is a service that we provide at our website, Spring Insight, SPRING, Insight, INSIGHT/local SEO. And you can find information about our local SEO, our services, and we would love to work with you. And in addition to that, we hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you will subscribe.
Yes.
Thank you.